welcome to Craft Little Things. I'm Andrea. Today I'm just doing a card for the final sketch challenge in the Positively Papercraft March sketch challenge album. If you want to join along, you can follow the link that I'll put in the description box. Positively Papercraft is a Facebook group where people come together and share their papercrafting makes, their blogs, their YouTube channels, their tutorials. People come up with ideas for challenges and things like that. I'm an admin of the group, and one of the things I do is I run the monthly sketch challenges. There's an album that you can go into and you'll find 4 sketches this month. You can follow one of them or all of them. You can do as many as you want, pop them into the album. And then at the end of the month, the person with the most entries gets a little surprise gift from us. So it's worth having a go, and it's also worth going along and checking out the entries for inspiration. There's some absolute corkers this month already. If you don't know what sketch challenge is, it's almost a blueprint or a map for a card, a layout, design, suggestion, and you can follow it or just be inspired by it and change it up a bit, make of it what you will. We're quite easy come, easy go with our sketch challenges. However you want to interpret it, that is entirely up to you. So if there's something in it, if there's an element in the sketch that you haven't got, or you can't think of how you can make, use something else. Go outside the box, if you like, with it. So the one that I'm going to do now, I've done the other 3 this month, but this is the one I haven't done yet. And this is not me at all these different layers and bits and bobs, but I'm going to give it a go. Okay, now this, for instance, is something a lot of people might not have. They might not have a die cut like that, or a pre-cut that they can punch out, or they might not have a doily. So use your imagination. For the doily, you could just have a circle, you could have a piece of lace. For the leaves, you could put something else. You could fussy cut something out. Instead of leaves, you could have, I don't know, paintbrushes, anything, so just think outside of the box. I'm going to actually follow the sketch very, very closely, and I'm using lots of things to get that little, I've used this punch, I can't remember what this punch is called, but I've used that to get that little flag sort of piece. I forgot, pennant. This is probably the pennant punch. I haven't said that. Might be, I'm not sure. To get that, so I've used that. I'm going to be using Call Me Clover ink to stamp my sentiment, and I'm going to use part of my story, which is one of the celebration gifts that's still available, I think. I just love this. I think it's one of my favourite celebration gifts ever, and I'm going to use Probably the World Needs More People Like You. And I'm going to stamp that onto a piece of Whisper White. I've used the May Flowers Framelets, which I think are still current in Stampin' Up. I think they are. Just to do my little foliage piece. And I've only done one. It was getting fussy enough as it was. So I've just done one out of Call Me Clover, which is the green cardstock. If you didn't know, Stampin' Up products, the colours in Stampin' Up have alliterative names. There's only a couple that don't. Lemon Lime Twist is one of them. I think there's another one that's not alliterative, but anyway, so the colours of the names, it just helps to coordinate. So I've used that for my background. I did manage to find a stitched, on the sketch, the edges are stitched. I found a stitched rectangle, and I found a pierced rectangle to cut the other layer out. I've used this Painted Seasons, is it Painted Seasons? 3DSP again from Celebration. These are retired doilies. This is a ribbon from a twin pack that's available in the main Stampin' Up catalogue, which is the Tea Room Ribbon Combo Pack. And there they are, you get 2 those glorious ribbons in that pack, so I'm using that. And I'm using a Whisper White base. My hexagon rectangle dies are these. Now Stampin' Up do have rectangle dies. They came out in the Occasions catalogue this January, but I just bought these because they didn't have any previously. I think I got these. These are like stitched and then pierced, stitched and then pierced, stitched and then pierced. I don't know. I think I got them from Craft Stash, I think. Yeah. And then I've got a little button to finish everything off, and the button is a little bit of an odd colour, but I chose it to kind of go with these darkest colours of the pinks in the flowers. I thought it might complement those and just contrast a little bit with all the green and white. I'm not a massive fan of this green. I think it's a bit too harsh for me, so I'm going to see how. I wanted to use it just to push myself again to try something I don't really. I'm not that big a fan of, and we'll see how it goes. This doily I'm probably going to cut into 2 pieces. I was going to use 2 doilies originally, but I'm probably going to just cut that into 2 halves to make life easy for myself. Right, so the first thing then, I'm going to give you the dimensions. So my card is extra thick whisper white, and it measures 5.5 by 4.5, and it's scored obviously at 4.5. It's obviously a piece of 9-inch cardstock scored at 4.5. And then I've got the Call Me Clover layer, which measures 5 by 4, I believe. Yeah, 5 by 4. And then I've got the Painted Seasons, or I think it's Painted Seasons, which is 4.5 by 3.5. It's going to go there. And I've got my doily, as I said, I'm going to cut that into 2 pieces. And then I've got the Call Me Clover piece here, which measured 2. It measured 2 by 3, and then I cut into it. And then I've got a little piece of the paper again on there, because I think the paper gets too hidden for my liking, so I thought I'd bring it back again. And that was 2 3/4 by 1 3/4, and then I just cut that down again. This is Call Me Clover, little sprig cut out using the Mayflower framelits, and then I've got this little piece of white which measures 2 1/4 by 1 3/4. And what I've done is I've just notched a mark at 1/2 inch from each end and 1/2 inch from each side, and I'm just going to cut across those marks to give me that little tag that the sketch calls for, and I'll just turn it over so you can't see those lines. I have got a punch that does this, not a punch, I have got a die that does this, but I thought rather than get the die out, I'll just show you how to cut it. Again, if you haven't got the punch that does this, just mark your centre point and then cut from your corners up to your centre point. You don't need the die if you haven't got one. And that's that. So I'm going to start off just by stamping my sentiment. Right, I was going to use The World Needs More People Like You, but I think I'm going to use Let's Get Together and Giggle instead. Get Together and Giggle. Don't know if that's 100% straight. That's better. So Let's Get Together and Giggle. I will use my Stampin' Scrub to clean these up when I'm finished. I don't want to be doing that now. And I'm just going to dip just to edge it off. I'm just going to dip it in my ink. And then I'm just going to get an aqua blender and I'm just going to blend in some of that green from the edges just to give it a little bit of something, a little bit of a wash around the edges. And then I'm going to use a little bit of Tombow to stick my button on. You can use a glue dot if you want. Use whatever you like. Just use a bit of Tombow. I'm just going to stick that button on there. I think that's a retired Stampin' Up button, to be honest. Leave that to dry. Oops. And now I'm going to start to build my card. Now I'm going to take, excuse the sunshine and the shadows and everything, it's difficult for me to avoid today, it's really sunny. I'm going to cut my doily in half. I think I'll put that over the green layer. So it comes right across there. And I think that can go. And then this can definitely go around the green layer as well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this onto here for now. So it's all about figuring out how it's all going to layer together. I'm just going to pop that on there. I'm not going to attach this until I've got everything sorted. I said how big that was. I did tell you the measurements for that, didn't I? And then I think the doily, the full half, I'm just going to stick, let me just move that out of the way a minute. The full half I'm just going to stick down that side. I'm only going to glue on the solid piece of the doily. I'm not going to glue on the lacy parts because I quite like them to be sort of free. Give some texture. And then I think this one I'm going to pop so it's just coming out a bit further. Like that, and then I'll trim that off. Just want it to look like, take up more of the card. Again, I'm only gluing it on the solid part. And I'm just gonna, you can either trim that off or you can just wrap it around. I'm just gonna wrap it around, it looks better finished if I wrap it around. Okay, I'm not going to see this join here. And then I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to tie it because it's tied here in the image. I'm going to bring it around. And it's not a bow in the image, it's just a knot that's sort of free-ended. Which makes life easier. I'm going to pop that up there. Just going to trim those, oops, trim a couple of pieces off. So that's there. And then now this piece, I can glue the DSP onto the cardstock. And now that's going to go nearly at the edge. I just want it to show through and the ribbon to show through, and so I want that to just stick out there, I think. So that's where I want to stick that. I'm going to glue all of that. And that's just going to come to there. And that's going to be there, so I'm going to glue that down. I know some people don't like sketches, they find them quite daunting to use. I'm going to bring that down a little bit so you can just see a bit more of that foliage. Don't want to hide all of that ribbon though. And then this is going to go across here so you can still see some of the ribbon. So I'm just going to put this on with dimensionals. Dimensionals are the Stampin' Up foam pads that give you a little bit of height. I'm going to take that right over, just let that little bit show, that little bit of the DSP show, and bring it right over to there. And then that's it, and then I can attach that to my card. I wonder if I should have added, no, I'm not going to add anything else. So now I'm just going to glue up the back. Go over the ribbon so the ribbon sticks. Go over the doilies, the doily sticks. And I'm going to pop it all onto my card. Give it a press down. And yeah, that's really pretty. I might just trim those a little tiny bit more, just so they stand up a little bit more. That's it. What was that? Oh yeah. And there we are. There's my card made from the sketch. Now, if you're wondering, if you do have trouble using sketches and you're wondering, you know, what's a good way? How do I start? I'm going to tell you how I go about them. I look at the sketch and then I look around my room and I think, what have I got that I'm enjoying using at the moment, or what's current, or what's new, or what do I need to use up? Do I look at my scrapbooks? And I just sort of think, what kind of components do I need? So for this one you need quite a few, so I thought, right, I need a couple of rectangles, so I'll probably use a base. Then I looked and I thought, oh, I've got a piece of Call Me Clover, I don't really like that colour, so I'm going to use it and try and use it something. I thought it goes nicely with this. I had a scrap of this waiting around. I needed the foliage thing, and I knew that Mayflower Framelits had this in it, so I just went straight for that. I thought, oh, I need a little piece of thin ribbon, so I just had a look through my ribbon collection. I keep my offcuts of ribbon in a plastic bag. This was obviously a new one, but I just keep a see-through plastic bag like this, but bigger, and I just keep my offcuts. I keep my offcuts of current Stampin' Up ribbon in one bag, and offcuts of other ribbons and retired Stampin' Up in another, because then I can just see little pieces that I'm going to use. It's really handy and it's easy to store them. So I just had a look, what thin ribbons have I got, and at first I picked up a silver one, and then I thought, oh no, I'll use this. I haven't used this yet. Thought the coppery colour would go nice with the sort of coppery colours and the flowers. And then I thought, right, I need this sort of pennant, so I thought I'll use my pennant punch. Got a couple of old doilies out, found myself a button, looked through my button stash and thought, oh yeah, that one might go nicely, a bit of a contrast. The obvious colour there would have been to go for green. I thought, yeah, I'll use Call Me Clover ink. I love this sentiment, and it's really current, and it's celebration, which is nearly over, so I thought, get that out. And that's it. That's how I kind of put my idea together. So I just look at really the components, and I just sort of walk around my craft room with the sketch in my hand, looking at what I need, what would fit in there. You know, the one we did the other day was circles. I thought, what would fit in those circles, what would look nice, you know, and think about what other people you've seen other people use, you know, and things that have inspired you, and there you go. So, and like I said, if you haven't got foliage, use something else. Use whatever you have got. If it's, you know, if you want to make it a crafty kind of card, you know, you could use scissors there instead, or paintbrushes. If you haven't got doilies, you could just use some lace, or you could just use some medallion cutouts or die cuts. You don't need the punch to be able to achieve this. You don't need a die to achieve this. You don't have to have stitched edges. You don't have to have, you'll see this layer is much bigger than the layer in the sketch. You don't have to stick to the dimensions. It's just do what you want. Just use it as inspiration. Okay, and there we go. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you again soon. And do come along and have a go at or come and have a look at the ones that other people have done, because, you know, they'll just show you that you don't have to interpret things as they seem, or you can if you want to. Sunshine's really coming in now, so I might go out and enjoy a bit of it. Okay, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.